Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to Creuse Line Podcast. I'm here with
Keyon,
Sophia,
Rainy Weatherly.
and today we're going to talk to you guys about racial inequality. Personally, I've had experience with racial inequality several times, and so have my parents and other individuals in my family. I can recall back in kindergarten when I was in my teacher, Miss Harris' class. I'll never forget. And a girl was putting envelopes in everybody's cubby, like inviting them to her birthday party. And I was like, hey, like, you forgot about me. You didn't put an envelope in my cubby. And she was like, oh, my mom said I can't invite black people. And I was like, jeez, it was a jaw dropper. And I was so young, so I still don't understand racism to this day, why the color of someone's skin should affect anything, And so, I didn't understand that as a kid. I remember going home to my mom crying about it, having her explain it to me. And she was, telling me basically how it was really nothing to explain. It's just the things that people were taught, which I couldn't even blame because her mom had obviously taught her that. It was taught behavior. It was nothing, we're in kindergarten. That's nothing that you would just...
born racist.
Yeah, that's nothing that she would be able to just know. So it was obviously taught from people at home that she probably I look up to my parents personally, so whatever my mom tells me at that young of an age, I'm going to believe it and believe that it's right. And I feel like that's what happened in that situation, and it still happens to me to this day, and it's sad that I had to deal with that young. But I want to hear from you guys. Sophia?
I don't want to speak about my personal experience, but rather the topic alone. It's ridiculous that still today that there's some unjustifying things that are happening in society that allows this type of racial inequality and this experience for others to happen. For, this month, BHM, it's Black History Month, and there's still schools out there that will not post anything to represent the Black community. And it's just so jaw-dropping to me that these schools, these districts, these communities still get away with stuff like that. Keyon?
Honestly, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think now that at our school and stuff, Lance Creuse, I'm happy that we're doing you have to do to get your points, like the Black Lives Matter thing. I'm pretty sure every class doesn't do it, but in my main classes we do it. So, I'm glad it's getting out there. And like Ryan, I've been with my parents and they've experienced racial inequality, and it's been pretty bad. One time we were at the bank and we walked in and it was a Caucasian man in front of us or whatever. No, he was actually behind us. Mm-hmm. And the lady, she basically took him before my dad, and my dad was there for 10 minutes in the line. And so they got in this big argument in the bank, and the police came and my dad had to leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same situation kind of happened with my dad. My dad, I was at the gym one time, and at Planet Fitness, the rule is that you have to be 17 years of age in order to work out. But you can work out with another person, someone who's 18 or older, or a parent or guardian. Mm-hmm. And the guy was trying to say that I couldn't work out, and I'm 17 with my dad. And I was like, he's my dad. I can't work out with my dad. And he was bringing out all these papers and stuff, explain to me why I can't work out with my own father, And that was the only, it was a certain location that we usually didn't go to. So, and we my dad was, explain to me, and he was like, well, if you don't leave, we're going to have to call the police and all this stuff. And my dad was like, now you're, disrespecting me and you're being racist. And the guy called the police came. There was no, exchange of words with the police, really. My dad just explained everything that happened, and they understood. But it was still he went out of his way to call the police when police are obviously meant for emergencies, when there's people dying and
real situations.
Things of that sort. And you're calling about a gym membership. It was really tacky
ridiculous.
And crazy.
And this is becoming this definitely with civil issues too. Mm-hmm. They try to throw stuff like this under the rug, and it's not allowed to be taken out or expressed out into the public or on the news or on the media articles. Instead, it's kind of they try to perpetrate the Black community to be considered the criminals and the suspects, rather than actually pointing fingers towards white groups as well that could technically be the people that got in trouble and caused all of this. And you know what? I want to turn our focus to our wonderful guest on here, Miss Weatherly. You go straight ahead.
Coming as a person who's had a relationship with a person who happened to be black and going out in public with them, I just want to say the staring is really annoying. Like one time, me and him and his friends, who all happened to be black, we went out to see a movie. After, we're walking around the mall at Partridge Creek, and people were staring at us the entire time and staring at me the entire time because I happened to be hanging out with a group of people who were black. And I think it's ridiculous that it shouldn't matter what skin color my friends are. I should be able to hang out with them no matter what skin color they are, and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd.
Well, thank you for your input.
Continuing on with that, the mixed mingling and interracial mingling, the fact that people are so upset over it, even though that there's also scientific evidence backing up how interrace mixing actually reduces the chances of getting mental diseases, mental disorders, and overall physical diseases. It's been proven. It's been scientifically proven. It's so crazy how people are so stuck in such traditionalist beliefs that they think that it has to be all about the purity, and it has to be all about, whites need to stay as whites and blacks need to stay as blacks. You don't want to mix all that and make it dirty or taint the bloodline. That's crazy.
It's disgusting. That's a terrible mindset to ever
live in. And there's politicians that still believe in that.
Yeah, like me personally, I've dated someone opposite of my race, and it was a weird thing at first. And I had to ask him. I was like, "Do your parents know that I'm black?" It was something that I feel I should never have to ask, but in today's society, it's sad that you actually do have to question that.
Yeah, for me, he didn't tell his parents I was white for a long time. He just hid it. He never said anything, and my parents knew. We don't care. It doesn't matter to us, but to him and his family, it was something very important, so he had to hide it, and he didn't tell them for a while.
Yeah, one time when I was I'd say 6th grade, I've had some of my friends different races white, Italian, anything. You could come over to my house. My parents do not care at all. They don't care what race you are, how big you are, how small you are. They're gonna take you in as family. And I remember one of my friends saying I couldn't come over their house or come to one of their parties because their parents don't support black people or something. And at a young age, it makes you think wow, it's crazy. Why does my race or me have anything to do with me coming to your party to hang out with you or anything?
It makes you feel guilty.
Exactly.
It's and then they get mad when you call it out and say, "Oh, you just have a victim mentality," when that's not the case. You're just pointing out that, hey, you're not liking me because of the color of my skin and my ethnic background. That's very bias and prejudice of you to do that. Please look at me for who I am and my personality.
And also, people make it seem like times of segregation were so long ago. And now that I think about it, I've literally had conversations with my Nana. She's only 70 years old, and she talks about how she was literally using different bathrooms, different sinks, stuff like that. It's really it was not that long ago.
And there are people still alive to this day, definitely, in museums and different places, going around to schools as well, explaining their experience of racial inequality, definitely with segregation.
Yeah.
And it's sad because, in a way, history repeats itself because, say, okay, my grandma's 70 years old, and she's dealt with times of segregation. And so the people who, started the segregation, those ways, they're still alive. A lot of them are still alive today, my grandma's age, and then they teach that to their kids, and their kids teach that to their kids.
Yeah.
And it comes down to our generation.
Cycle. Yeah, it's a continuous cycle, and it's sad. It's
and
really
you know
sad.
what? It sounds like with white families or other minority groups that are trying to bring down black people that are from these time periods are trying to separate blacks entirely from minority groups into a separate group so that they could be but we need to be equal, we need to stay equal. But no, they could stay lower, but we have lighter skin, and it's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
It's repulsive, it's gross, it's impulsive.
What I think is crazy is if you look back when like Martin Luther King was around, he would still be alive to this day if he wasn't assassinated. That's how not long ago the civil rights movement was going on and all of that stuff. Like, that's depressing.
Really is. Well, thank you guys for listening to our podcast today, and I hope that you choose to be kind to everyone. Thank you.